Ciao, buongiorno ragazzi. It's time for the final word where we evaluate the Serie A results and what it means for Inter in the table in the grand scheme of things. And it was a successful weekend for us domestically, getting that 3-0 dub over Sassuolo. Fine performance from the Nerazzurri, so let's start off with that. And pretty much because I didn't watch the game live, I've got the same feelings and the same sentiments as I did before. Great game, great response, great reaction, great Gagliardini, great Alexis Sanchez, great Lautaro, played well. Vidal making amends for his horror show against Madrid. And what does this mean? Well, it means that we're sitting in second position now. So after all the such bad feelings and stuff, like I said it a couple times before in the previous episodes, in context, we can still sort of cement and run away with this league. It's just that everything's been so grim lately. Poor football, poor results, bad press. Not that we're any strangers to bad press, but we're sitting in second position now. We've won 5, drawn 3, lost 1. It's really not as bad as it sounds. 23 goals scored, 4. It's more goals than any other team in the league, but we have leaked 13 goals, which is the most out of any teams in the top 5 at the moment. Defensively we know we need to improve, but we can come off the back knowing that we just got a clean sheet. And a clean sheet with Darmian starting as well, who was fantastic. It's important to give credit where it's due, not the most exciting signing, but he is going to push Hakimi to the point of starting, and that's a good thing because now Hakimi needs to pull up. It's easy when you walk ass first into a team at 40 million on a transfer, and then Matteo Darmian comes across for 3.5 million. I know Hakimi wasn't really benched by Darmian, he was more rested, but Darmian put a better performance in than Hakimi has in his last 3 or 4 since Benevento. So there is that to consider. I don't even think there's much to talk about else from our side. We need to look forward to this Champions League match in order to stay alive in this competition. But we take on Bologna next in Serie A, which means I'll go to their result next for the weekend. So Bologna beat Crotone 1-0 with a Soriano goal. It was actually a half decent game. I always love seeing Rodrigo Palacio step up to the plate. I think he's wearing the number 24 jersey for them this season, and he's just such a gentleman, one of my favorite Inter players of all time. He was like the shining light in the whole banter era, under Pazzari and the rest. Bologna at the moment sit in 10th position, 4 wins, 5 losses, no draws, which is rare. I think they're the only side in Serie A not to record a draw so far. I guess they are only side not to record a draw in Serie A, besides Napoli. So I don't think that will be an easy fixture, but at the Miazza, this should be 3 points, and it's probably good that they're coming off a win. They'll feel a little bit more complacent. They don't feel desperate for 3 points, so I look forward to a Serie A match against Bologna next week. Their opponents and the losers of the match, Crotone, are the only side in the league that haven't picked up a win yet. They've also conceded 20 league goals, and they've only scored 6. They have 0 match points. Oh wait, no. They have 2 because they've drawn 2. Good for them. They sit dead last, and if they stand any sort of chance at surviving the drop, they need to start picking up points straight away, which I don't think they will anytime soon, looking at their fixtures. Let's move on to a surprise result, but I'm telling you right now, this will be one pick that I get right this season. Atalanta out of the top 4. Out of the top 4. The glitz, the glamour, the hype. It's coming to a point now where professionalism needs to take over, and there ain't no winners in that team, man. Asperini is only running off gas. Gasperini, legitimately, bro. So Atalanta, 2-0 to Verona. Miguel Veloso with a penalty, and Zaccagni in the 83rd minute. I didn't watch the game. I only watched the last 30 minutes. I was still catching up on some sleep. But when Hellas Verona scored the 2 goals, I'm like, hell, man, I've tuned in at the right time. I don't know how Atalanta were playing before this, but Hellas looks like they're kicking their ass. Then after watching extended highlights, it seems like Atalanta threw everything at them for 60 minutes, didn't come up goods. So that's what I mean. Maybe they're just running on gas a little bit now. And, at the end of the day, they're not sitting that well. They're 8th on the ladder. Verona is 7th. We'll do Atalanta first. 8th on the ladder. 4 wins, 2 draws, and 3 losses. 14 match points, still -4 to Inter already. So into context there, that's a good little jump. Verona won't be able to sustain this all season, so they're not obviously a rival, but kudos to them. 15 points already, 9 matches played, 4 wins, 3 draws, and 2 losses. They sit in 7th position. They're a good shout for top half of the table, as they were last season as well. They've got a good coach, and I think they've got some decent players in their side as well. So big ups to Verona, and big ups to Miguel Veloso. Just remember signing him on FIFA a couple of times, to be honest. Next result, I wanted to leave this one for a bit later. Yeah, I will leave it for later. Why not? Cagliari draw 2-2 to Spezia. That's the one game I absolutely didn't watch any of, except just the main highlights at all. But to be honest, another point is good for Spezia. They're racking up those points against teams that you need to rack up points again as a new side if you're going to survive in the league. They get the 1 point against Atalanta, I believe it was. They jacked Benevento 3-0, which was impressive. I think they got a draw to Parma as well this season. So, big ups to Spezia getting those points where it counts most, because they'll probably get romped by the bigger sides. Maybe, just maybe, they can grind out a survival spot this season, although I don't think so. I've still got them in the bottom 3, to be honest. Their opponents, Cagliari, they'll be around about that mid-table range. There's not too much you can ask from them besides to sustain as many points as possible against the teams that they can, like getting that point against Spezia, although they probably would prefer 3 points. They got the 3 points against Crotone. They got points against Torino, I think it was. They won that in the last minute, as most teams do against Torino. So Cagliari thereabouts. Will they bother Inter this season? We'll find out in 2 match days from now. So, let's just leave that one for a little bit later. Next result to talk about is... Oh, by the way, keep in mind, this is still pending the results of Torino, Sampdoria, and Genoa, Parma. I was going to wait till tomorrow, but, most of the results relevant to Inter have played anyway, so I thought I'd just do this now. Let's get to some of the juicier results, eh? Big ups to Milan. This ain't just a lack of Zlatan thing. This is a run as much on your momentum as possible thing. And they're going to run with that momentum. I still think they're going to slip. And when Pioli falls, he falls hard. But they're getting those points where they count, man. And all you got to do is hold your hand up and go, this looks familiar. We did this under Spalletti. We did this under Conte. We did this under Mancini. They should run out of gas. Goals to Romagnoli and Kessier, who missed a penalty, scored a penalty. But overall, they never looked like not winning that game. Romagnoli silences the haters. I think he's overrated, but that's just me. Maybe I'm a little bit biased. I don't think he's that great. There's no way he's better than Skriniar, like some of the Milan fans do on Twitter. Very, very intelligent fan base. The next result that we should talk about. No, but big ups to them. They're on the top. They're still sitting on top of the ladder. Have to give them that. 23 points. Very impressive. 21 goals scored. 8 goals against. 7 wins, 2 draws. There. No losses. No losses. So someone needs to hand them an L. Someone needs to hand them one soon, and we need to close that gap. I don't want that gap getting to no freaking 8, 9, 10, 11 points shit. That would just be ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Because then they'll really start running on their gas. Next result, a beautiful result, played by a beautiful team today in tribute to Diego Maradona. Napoli absolutely killed Roma 4-0. I don't think the result was ever in doubt. I'm happy to give Roma this L in light of the fact that this result was probably always going to go to Napoli for that sentimental reason. But there was no reason for them to get creamed as much as they did. Goals for Insigne, which was a beautiful free kick, one that Diego would have been proud of. Ruiz grabbed a goal, Mertens did his thing, and Matteo Politano, an Interista. Maybe not an Interista, but we all know our Matteo Politano for the 2 seasons that he spent with us. Or was it 1.5? Only 1.5, eh? 1 under Spalletti, half under Conte. Was that the right decision to make? Probably. The 4-0 result for Napoli puts them up in 5th, which is just about the position they deserve to be in. I've still got them to finish in the top 4 this season. It'll be hard. I said it at the start, I've got to stick to it. I've got to stick to that. Next result, I've saved a couple of good ones for last. Lazio got absolutely pumped by Udinese. That's the surprise one of the round, which is why I've left it late. Goals to, I think it's Aslan, that's how you say it, Pussetto and Forestieri. whereas Ciro Penmobile got himself another penalty. Lazio are the side that I predicted in the top 4 at the end of the season. This could, if Atalanta's the one I guess right by saying that they miss out, Lazio's the one I guess wrong by them also missing out. But except this time I had them up there. They just they've lost a little bit of flair. I'm a big fan of Inzaghi, but I think they've been doing well because they got hit hard under COVID and they had a lot of injuries. They're doing great in the Champions League, but I think this is it. I think they are realizing that they're going through the next round of the Champions League. Everyone's gassed up on that. The energy's big. And then when it comes down to playing Serie A, no one's really turning up. No one's as keen. They haven't got that drive that they did last season because they're already in the Champions League. But, I could be wrong about that. We'll see. It's still a very young season. 30 games still to go. No, 29. 29 games still to go. Did I save the best one till last? Second best one. Maybe the best one, depending on how you look at it. Benevento 1. Juventus 1. Alvaro Morata scores, but Letizia for the boys makes it 1-1. Every Inter fan's day gets even better after the results of Sassuolo, and I'm not... See, there's two different sides of Inter fans at the moment. There's the Inter fans that legitimately think Juventus are going to plummet, and this is the year that they're done, and they're all on that hype train, and they're behind it with everything they've got. Or you're like me, and you think this is all just a mask until they pick up so much form and win so many games on the run. But either or, this final word needs to reflect objectively their 4th position status with 4 wins, 5 draws. Don't forget their little from the league against Napoli as well, which counts as a win, 3-0 win by default. Their best result of the season so far. Let me know below what you think. I'm not ready to talk about Juventus yet and their form and Pirlo, because my hatred for them runs so deep that just talking about them gives me AIDS. And yeah, I would much rather wait till I have much more clarity and confirmation about their downfall until I start talking about them. So as of now, they can just occupy 4th place in the league and also occupy 4th place in this final word. So Benevento, 15th position. They won't win as many games as they will draw or lose, obviously. But I actually think if they put their mind to it, they can stay up. And the reason for that is that I'll finish on a note because 3 of the 4 teams I haven't spoken about aren't playing, and they're trash. Parma are 17th, Torino 18th, and Genoa 19th. And these are the really poor mid-table teams of the last 4 to 5 years that are going to find it really tough this season to stay up. And a little bit of resilience from your Beneventos, Spezias, Udineses, and Sampdorias are going to make sure of it. They're going to make sure of it. So, in terms of Torino, I don't know how they do in terms of hanging on to Belotti, because if I was Belotti, I would want out. I know he's a big fan of the city and he loves being in Torino, but for me, I think it's time for him to go before his career turns. The only other thing I'll comment on in this video is the complete lack of application in Camp Viola, Fiorentina. You sack Iachini, however you say his name, and you go for Prandelli, a man who's not a great coach. He's decent, but he's not great. And, just because he's got a little bit of Fiorentina history in him, the players are supposed to react in some way, shape, or form. So it's disappointing to see Fiorentina play like this with the likes of, Ribery, Bonaventura, Borja Valero's there, Vlahovic is decent, Crotone, who else? Castrovilli, Milenkovic. It's not like they've got a shit team, but none of them are turning up at all. Anyway, that's it for the final word. It's been a little bit of a long one. Let us know in the comments below what you think about this video, about the concept of it, and of Inter's position at the moment in Serie A, most importantly. Ciao ragazzi, forza Inter worldwide.